Well, thank you so much for being here today. And Kat, thanks for having us. We're really, really excited to meet you and talk to you and answer questions along the way. We are with Grace and Gold, and we are a branding and web design business that has been in business for about 4 years. Our story began in a coffee shop. Coincidentally, we met each other at a coffee shop in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and we've been in business together ever since. So behind the scenes, I do the brand strategy and the client experience at with Grace and Gold, and then Andra can talk about what she does.
Yeah, so I do more of the brand design portion. So Kelly and I work hand in hand while I do the designing, Kelly does the strategy, and that's why we work together with our clients. So any of the designs you see, the custom kind of design websites, typically I have my hand in most of them. And so, yeah, like Kelly said, we've been in business for 4 years. And then not only do we do web design and branding, but we also serve a lot of designers through our educational services as well. So we work with a lot of designers to help them grow their businesses and see success in their business as well.
Yeah, and most recently, we launched our spring collection today, which is a collection of customizable templates for creative business owners. So we're excited to share more about that as time goes on.
Yeah. Which is so fun. Like I didn't know that was, obviously you knew your launch schedule. I did not. When I was like, hey, March 1st, will you come on Coffee Chat? And then they emailed back and said, yes, and our spring collection launches. And I was like, that's so fun. Yeah. So if you guys are looking for any website templates, definitely pop over. And I think you guys are running, is it like 20% off right now?
Yeah. Yep. With Spring 20.
Spring 20. I'll pop that into the chat just in case you guys like mosey on over when we're done.
Yes, fun little templates too. Like we offer custom web design and branding, but these templates are great if you're at that season of business where maybe you're not ready to invest in a totally custom site, but they're pretty. So check them out.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so guys, we are talking today specifically in this coffee chat about how to simultaneously work on your business and in your business. I know that's something that a lot of small business owners face. I feel like as I offer business coaching, and I know you guys work with a lot of designers in the industry. I feel like for me, it's a question I get a lot. Like, how do I maintain my current clients while also trying to work on this big project or this big dream? So I didn't know if you guys could speak to, just while we, kind of get started talking through this like doozy of a topic, how, like, have you guys struggled with that in your business, and maybe like either an example of how you've struggled with that, or what that's just kind of looked like for the two of you as you've walked through like working on your business, but also working in your business?
Yeah, definitely. So early on in our business, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to prioritize and when. And we found that because working with our clients and serving our clients was really the bread and butter of our business, that is where we gave all of our time and attention. And when all of our time and attention was on our clients and serving them as best we could, we would let things fall to the wayside, like social media marketing and newsletter writing and any other, business to-dos. And so what would happen is our business would kind of ebb and flow, and we would go through these seasons of, we booked our ideal client and we're working with them, but while we're doing that, we're forgetting to market. And so we're not really preparing for what's ahead. And so we've definitely been through struggles like that. And then it's just been a matter for us of figuring out how to fit those business to-dos in, which we can talk more about. I know we'll get into deeper.
Right. Yeah, I think you nailed it when she said the ebb and flow. I think that was the biggest struggle. And I think just from talking to other business owners, that seems to be the struggle, where it's like you're booking, and then you're so invested in working with those clients that now you're like, well, how am I getting new clients? You almost forget that you need new clients to sustain your business at the same time.
Right.
And so that's where that ebb and flow comes in. So we'd work with clients, and then we'd have to kind of create a month of booking up again, and then we'd work with them. And then it was just it wasn't consistent like we wanted it to be in the beginning. And that's when we kind of had that wake up call. And since have developed some what we think are great strategies. So.
Right. And we're going to talk about. I also feel like for me too, it comes with not just on the client side, but also like trying to make sure I'm maintaining my, like the high level of client experience that I want all of my clients to enjoy, whether it's a bride or a coaching client, but also wanting to focus on new projects, right? And knowing that like, hey, I still want to be able to like respond to emails in a timely fashion and get what they need to them by the deadlines that we've already set in place. But I also want to make sure I carve out time to work on this new fun project or like launch a new revenue stream, whatever that might look like.
Right. And not having the guilt that comes along with it. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's true.
I think that comes along with like working on your own business. Like you just said, you have a fun project you want to work on, but so-and-so needs your attention. So how do you find that balance of, well, I feel guilty working on this other project because this is my client who's paying me and like giving me their money to give them good service.
Absolutely. So that, like, let's jump into that then for a minute. Like, what are some things that you guys have started doing to maybe either like not feel as guilty when you say like, okay, yes, this client is really important, but hey, when we just talked about, you guys launched your spring collection, yes, that is a revenue stream for you, but it's not a paying client coming in and saying, I'm going to hire you to launch this collection. Like you're doing that on your own time to hopefully then grow that side of your business while also working with custom clients. So how do you guys like fight that guilt and then also find the time to do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when we had that wake-up call, like Andra mentioned, it came down to changing the narrative of what it's like to be a business owner. So we instantly felt guilt about taking any time away from serving our clients. But then what we started to do was tell ourselves and then realize through the process that when we pour into our own business and when we lift up the areas of our business that need attention, we can serve our clients better. And that's what we started to tell ourselves in order to make that shift and balance between the two things, the client work and the business development. So that was the first thing, was just kind of shifting our mindset about how that would work. And then the second thing was actually setting aside time to do it. So what we did was we scheduled our work days Monday through Thursday, and then Friday was our business development day. But more important than having a day to work on those things, we scheduled out every single thing that needed to be accomplished that day. So we schedule all of our social media posts for the week ahead. We pre-write all of our newsletters. We do all of our blog posts for the week ahead. And if there's any long-term projects, we have different to-dos to chisel away at those. So doing that really allowed us to work very diligently, really in a focused way, Monday through Thursday. And then Friday could be this day where we would lift up our business and we'd set our away message up and say, to provide the best experience to our clients, this is how we utilize Fridays, but we're really excited to serve you wholeheartedly Monday through Thursday.
And I think that's where we were able to kind of get rid of that guilty feeling too, because we were making it aware to our clients that we were doing that. So, you know, and they almost appreciate it too, knowing I'm getting your full attention on Monday through Thursday, but on Friday, that's when you're able to grow your business, develop your business. And in fact, a lot of our clients took that to heart and actually applied it to their own business. So it's kind of fun. It's also giving back too. We're like, we are allowing you permission to like not talk to us on Fridays so that you can work on, you know, your business as well. And I think that helped with just that feeling of guilt. Knowing that, you know, we are totally invested Monday through Thursday. In fact, we don't touch social media Monday through Thursday. We don't, like Kelly said, she does our newsletters. She doesn't even think about newsletters on Monday through Thursday. But on Friday, we know that we can wholeheartedly sit down and focus on those things. And that's kind of that transition that we went through about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where we started to develop those business development days, is what we called them. And that's where we were able to just like totally wholeheartedly focus on those projects. And that really, really made a huge difference for us.
I love that. I'm like such a huge fan of block scheduling. So that to me, like that's what it is. It's like you're just blocking out, you know, that one day a week, this is what it's dedicated to. And the other 4 you can split between the clients that you're already like working with, booking new clients, whatever that looks like. Another just like suggestion for this too, for you guys like listening in, if you feel like you don't feel like you're at a place to say, let me just have one day, right? Because that can be kind of intimidating to be like, okay, no, I'm not going to do this at all until Friday or Monday or whatever day you choose, is to just think about where are you spending your time during your work day? I know for me, it is really difficult to close the Gmail tab. I don't know why. It's just so difficult for me to like close that tab and be like, I'm not going to look at emails right now. But when I do, on the days where I truly say, you know what, I'm going to check emails from like 9 to 10 10 a.m. and then I'm not going to look at them again until 3 to 4, I'm so much more productive because I'm not constantly getting stopped and then like going back and looking at that. And then with my clients, I'm still checking emails twice daily, right? You don't have to respond to an email like a text message. So it helps me just like let go of the guilt of I'm still checking my inbox. I'm still responding to, fires that need to be put out as best as I can, but I don't have to be available 24/7. I'm allowed as a business owner to still love my business and want to do other things in my business. So thinking about the boundaries that you have with things like your inbox and how quickly clients can communicate with you, because we want them to communicate with us in a fast way. Like we love that. I know I think that that's something that is such a huge part of client experience, is being available to our clients, but we are human and we also need to either have just like total time off or be able to take that time away and focus on other areas of our business.
Right. No, absolutely. I'm having great feedback.
So in terms of like your, like being able to do that, right? So being able to say, okay, we're going to look at Monday through Thursday for clients, and then Friday is really going to be our business development day. What systems or tools do you feel like you guys have put in place that have allowed you guys to say, you know what, we really can then balance maintaining our business, but also growing our business by having, whether it's that one day or, for others out there, maybe like times throughout the day, whatever that looks like. What are some systems that we could think about too?
Yeah. So, Andra, you go.
No, well, I was just going to talk about Basecamp, and I can talk about this till like my face is blue. So we use a project management software. I mean, there's lots of different systems, and Kelly can totally talk about the other systems we use because that's her brain. But the one that we love, it's actually a project management like software. So I guess it's a software system, whatever you might call it. And we use Basecamp. And you were talking about Gmail and kind of closing out of that tab. And what really helped us to do that was actually using Basecamp. So it's kind of like a multi-faceted, awesome thing. It not only tracks like our clients and how we manage our clients, so it frees up time, obviously, in that way. Just like any other project management software. We're not going to get too into that because people kind of can dabble and figure out what software works for them. But it actually helped us to focus on those Monday through Thursday with our clients, and then close out, and then allow those projects to shine on Friday, or those internal projects, I guess you could say. Because our clients actually communicate with us through Basecamp. So what's great is that Kelly, who does our emails, she's able to check in the morning for any new inquiries or new, just business development type things. But then we're really able to close out of that because most of our communication with the people we're supposed to be focusing on is during Monday through Thursday is done via Basecamp. So we're able to just kind of stay in Basecamp all day, close out of email, close out of those other distractions, close out of social media. And with Basecamp having it open, we're able to see any actual communication that needs to be done with clients. So it puts the blinders on, so to speak, of focusing on what we really should be focusing on, which is our current clients. And then, of course, Kelly touches in the morning and in the evening or afternoons before we close out of the day for potential new inquiries, things like that via Gmail. So we use Basecamp. We started using Basecamp about 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3 years ago. I think almost exactly, actually, because one fact, if this is going to be casual coffee chat, Kelly found Basecamp, and I came back from my honeymoon, which was about 3 years ago, and Kelly was like, I came back to like all these notifications of Kelly like putting everything into Basecamp for our business, and I came back just like, welcome back from your honeymoon. We're now using Basecamp for our business.
While you were away, I just happened to do this.
Yes, it really was exactly 3 years ago. And I'm so thankful for that Basecamp, streamline crazy notifications, because since then we have freed up so much time in our business, which also allows us to work more on the projects that we want to be working on outside of client work. So just talking about freeing up hours that, we need in our day.
Right.
That's huge for us. Just using a project management software, period, is going to be huge.
Yeah. I would say also just knowing what you need to do for business development is really the first step. So if you know that you want to be active on certain social media platforms, make a to-do to schedule out those social media posts. So the systems that we use for that are Planoly for Instagram, we use Tailwind for Pinterest, and then we use ConvertKit for our newsletters. And by using all those things, we can pre-schedule all of our social media marketing in advance. And so when I do that, I have little to-dos that say schedule a week of Pinterest, and then I can scoot it to next Friday. And I can say schedule a week of Instagram, finish that, and then move it to next Friday. So it's nice to begin the business development day knowing all the things that you want to accomplish. That's really half the battle, because then if you get done early, at least you know all your bases are covered and you've done all the things for your business that you need to, whether that's bookkeeping, social media marketing, newsletter writing, and any other projects that you have. Just knowing is the first step.
Right.
Absolutely. And a lot of that stuff too, which I love, that you can even do more than just a week out, right? Which is super helpful. So like for the Creative at Heart Instagram, for instance, I actually already have all of March planned out in Planoly. And I'm like, praise the Lord. It took me like 3 hours, one afternoon, to really sit there and figure out, okay, what are we sharing about? What's going on? What launches do we know that are coming up that we want to make sure we're talking about online? Like, I wanted to be strategic with it, but it's been very helpful. And now I can sit back and relax and know that those images and captions are ready to go in Planoly. Yeah. And also, like, side note for you guys out there, if y'all don't know this, Planoly and Tailwind also, I know, are the two. I don't know of any others, but Instagram will allow them to post for you now. Which is awesome. So it will actually post versus you just getting the notification and having to swipe. So that's also really helpful. Like, I'm going on vacation next week. I don't have to have, even like Emily, my VA, doesn't have to worry about that. It's already pre-scheduled in auto post. So we know it's going to go out next week and we don't have to worry about it. And that's really nice too. Yeah. Just a little like side note for Planoly, if you didn't.
Yeah, I think for like social media specifically, and this is kind of like a little tangent, but I think, when we've heard this argument of like, well, you spent 3 hours on that one day and like you could just spend, 5 minutes a day on it. But I think the argument that we like to make is like, do you really actually only spend 5 minutes a day on Instagram? Right. Or do you end up like scrolling and then an hour later you're like, oh, I'm just doing market research or like whatever it is. And in reality, you could have been serving your clients and then freeing up more time to work on projects that are actually going to make you money, like a shop.
Absolutely. I feel like people will say, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. Like you get you can't think about, I don't know what I want my caption to say. A bunch of emojis. Like that's what I want to say today. I have no idea, So like for me, when I get in like the zone, like, no, I can like get in a zone, bust out all of these captions with images that I feel like are very genuine. They fit our brand. They look professional, and it's better quality than me just trying to do it really quickly every morning to make sure that I get that post up that needs to get up.
Totally.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Okay. That was our little like Instagram side note.
That's a little tangent, but I think at the end of the day, like for us, a lot of our systems are made up of softwares. I think that's like the biggest kind of like capstone. That's not the right word I'm looking for, but whatever. That's like the big takeaway.
Right.
Like a lot of our systems are made up of softwares that we've just taken advantage of and used, and
absolutely
so much time for us, which allows us to work on things like a shop or other projects on the side or speaking engagements, even like this, where it's like it frees up that time to allow us to do that. So.
Right. Absolutely. So what, in terms of like the other ideas, right? The shop ideas, or just any, I don't know, you guys have a workshop coming up in a couple of months, just any of those other ideas that you think of that you would like to implement in your business. I'd love to talk about two different things with that, because I feel like I get asked this a lot with coaching clients. One, how do you organize all of those ideas that you have? Like what's the system, if there is a system that you guys use? If it's sticky notes, no judgment, totally fine. I feel like it's not with you two. So what system do you prefer in terms of like keeping up with those ideas? And then how do you determine, okay, I'm now going to carve out this time to grow my business, not just the business development of, obviously we want to be posting on Instagram, we want to be working on email marketing, but I'm truly going to take this time to grow this new revenue stream or launch this new product. How do you determine of all those ideas, which one to go for, like which one to launch, which one to try? So I'd love to talk about that with y'all.
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. When it comes to the ideas that we have, we feel really blessed to have each other because we actually do not have a long list of ideas. Essentially what happens is at the start of the year, we meet for like 2 days and we map out the entire year ahead. So if there's anything new that we want to do, we'll try to stick to like 1 to 2 new things a year. And when we're brainstorming and we're saying, what do you think about this? Or should we open up this or try this? We just look at each other and go, no. So basically having someone to bounce the idea off of really helps us to have this moment of, this is not a good idea, and we just push it aside. But when we both feel really good about it is when we actually pursue it. And when we can see it developed from start to end, and we can see that it complements what we already do, those are the times that we pursue something. So it's hard because as creative business owners, our job is to think creatively and come up with new ideas. And so it's very easy for us, and it was easier for us. Nowadays, I think we're a lot more discerning, but in the early stages, we would see someone do something and say, that'd be so cool. And so many things are really cool. But then we found ourselves going down this path of pursuing things because they looked cool and not because they aligned with our mission and vision. And so that is something that we do now. We talk about, what are our offerings and how do we serve people well? How have we proven that we serve people well? And how can we do more of that? So our shop complements the custom design services that we do, because they're more affordable than our custom design services. And it's still design, it's still websites from us, but it's just an alternate route. And that's why we chose to pursue it. And so that's kind of our gut check rule of thumb, is just how does it complement what we're already doing and what we've already proven that we can do. And then once we decide to go for something like that, we go into Basecamp and we make a little Basecamp for the project, and we work backwards completely from start to finish. So every detail that you can imagine, every speck of what needs to be done is itemized, and we'll put in, plan template 1. What does it look like? Plan template 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll kind of put in design details of how we want each one to look, and then set a due date for when that design will be done. So even though we launched today, we've been working on it for the past 2 months, trying to do 1 design per week, then designing our website and all the product pages, and then linking it with Shopify, sending the newsletters, and all those nitty-gritty details. And that is really our best advice for managing such big projects like that, is working backwards and thinking about every single detail of what needs to be accomplished. And only then is it manageable and seamless. Today, Andra, I'm going to poke fun at you, but Andra woke up. She was talking to me about something else. 10 minutes later, she goes, "Oh, happy shop launch day." And I was like, yeah, that's what today is. She totally forgot.
We've just been working on it for 2 months.
Yeah, right? Because it already was done, forever ago. So I was like, oh, that's right. Today's the day we launched the shop.
That's awesome.
It was all done. All we had to do was just publish the page, and then all the newsletters were pre-scheduled. And so we're able then to just continue on. Today's Thursday, so we're still serving our clients. And it was just so funny because it was so seamless. And it's really that working backwards that makes it so that there's no surprises. We both had lots of opportunities to double check the website and go through all those details. So yeah, I'm sorry, long answer, short question.
No, that's okay. I was going to say, in terms of that discernment of what are we, we kind of have this list of comparables. Okay, we have all these great ideas, but what do they match up with on our list of, gut checks, like Kelly said, or that rule of thumb? And I think a lot of it, not only what Kelly said in terms of does it actually make sense for our business, because there's a lot of cool ideas that we would just love to do, but we serve creatives through branding and web design, or we serve designers through education. Not everything fits into those categories.
Right.
But the other thing, and this is just to be blunt, I think as creatives, we get really romanticized about all these fun ideas, but do they make you money? And I think not to just totally be the blunt person that's FYI, people, you're running a business. But I think that's really important to remember. And I think Kelly and I have had lots of moments where even from day one in our business, we had a shop where we sold cards in our business. Why we did that, I don't know. Looking back, I think it was cute, and we thought cards were cute, and we wanted to design cards. But they made no money for our business. And so very quickly we realized, why are we spending time pursuing this dream? Or, I don't even want to call it a dream, but pursuing this, creative outlet when it's money. And we want, time is money. So you think, unless it's a project where you're okay with not spending time with your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whoever, not spending time with your children, or spending time watching your favorite TV show without your laptop in your lap, that's what's going to take, these passion projects can take away from that time. So unless they're making you money, it might be worth kind of thinking twice about. So that's my little like 2 cents of, a little business hat. But I think that's where Kelly and I are like, okay, a shop that will bring in revenue for our families. Great. So we're going to pursue that and we're excited about it. But I think a lot of business owners make the mistake of pursuing ideas that aren't worth it.
Right. No, I'm glad you said that because I am I have all the ideas all the time. And I know, Emily, you said like, I need a strategic business partner, or like someone in your life to be able to bounce those ideas off of. Like, it can definitely feel a little bit isolating if you're like, when you're sitting at home, maybe you don't have a business partner, you can text and you get that idea who's like sending you the crazy face emojis, like, absolutely not, we're not doing that. Like, you don't have anybody to talk you off the ledge. Right. And you just want to like go for it. So a couple things that I feel like can be helpful in that situation is, well, I use Trello, and Trello is very different from Basecamp. But I have a Trello board that's literally called All the Things. That's the title of my board. And it has all the things. It has a variety of things for my business on it, but I have a list on that board that's just ideas. And it doesn't mean that any of them will ever see the light of day. When I get one that I feel like, okay, yeah, I want to write this down just to look back and like get it out of my brain and write it on this board and then be able to look back and decide later, do I want to pursue this or not? I'll put it there. And it has some random stuff. It has some good stuff. And then it has some stuff that I'm like, why did I ever write that down? Like, that's not ever going to happen. It's like a card shop for me. I have that would not be a good idea. Whatever. It's fine. So that could be helpful for some of you guys if you feel like your brain is just filled with ideas. Literally just have a brain dump space. I'm a big fan of brain dumping. If you feel like you don't have somebody you can verbally process through some of those ideas with. The second thing I would say is if you get an idea and you're like, you know what? No, I don't think this is me just romanticizing, right, the creative industry. I don't think this is me just comparing and feeling like, oh, well, she's doing that, so I have to do it. I have to check myself on that question. I have to ask, like, why do I really want to do it? Is it because I just saw so-and-so do something similar? It's a big question. It's really humbling that I just admitted that to all of you guys, but I have to ask myself that question a lot. But if you really feel like, okay, no, I've narrowed it down. I have this whether it's one idea or maybe a couple ideas, and you're like, I really think I should go in this direction. I want to encourage you guys to find some sort of accountability or mastermind group, or have other women that you can verbally process and you can actually seek strategic business advice and also be challenged on whether or not you should move forward. This isn't like, I don't know of like a specific mastermind off the top of my head that I would say like, go for this one. It could even just be a group of you guys who maybe you meet at a conference, right? That's how Kelly and Andra and I were in a mastermind for a while. We've taken a little break right now with just life and everything. And it wasn't like organized by anyone in particular. We all met at the Rising Tide retreat and said, hey, why not? Like, let's chat every couple weeks and just hop on a Google Hangout and see what's going on in our business and have people that we can verbally process, and someone say like, girl, that sounds crazy, don't do it. Or have people say like, actually, I think that fits your vision and I think that you should move forward. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you don't feel like you have that person, like, figure out how you could find that person, right? Whether that's at the next conference or workshop you attend, or reaching out and joining a paid mastermind. I know a lot of business coaches offer, paid mastermind experiences if you feel like having that business coach like pouring into you would be really helpful. But having that and having that accountability too when you're walking through it can be really like a huge game changer in your business when you're working through big ideas.
Totally. And if that still is scary to you, I think for us, just having a list of like I said, ask yourself these questions. Does this make me money? Does this align with my business? And so every idea that kind of comes through your brain is just have that list readily available to pull out and say, yes, yeah, it doesn't meet all of my criteria for pursuing a new idea. Yes, okay, great. But if not, ask her, that's where it comes in, that those tough questions help, because you're like, well, maybe this isn't worth pursuing. Maybe this won't make me money for my family. Maybe I'll be spending so much time on it and it's not worthwhile. So just having that list, even if you don't have a person necessarily, have that list to ask yourself the tough questions. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. So what would you guys say if obviously you're talking to a lot of us right now, but if you're talking to one person over coffee and they ask you the question, they say like, I'm struggling to work on my business and not just in my business? What is like one quick tip, like one like quick win that you could say like, okay, start doing this right now, and this will help you feel like you can actually work on your business and not just in your business?
Sure.
I would say make that list of what working on your business means, whether it's keeping your portfolio updated, all those social media and newsletter things that we talked about, whatever working on your business looks like to you. I think it's just the most important to identify what they are, because so often when we don't know what our priorities are for the day and then the day ends, it feels like, well, what did I accomplish? Or like, did I just waste the day? Or what was even supposed to happen today? And so when you have that list, whether you are able to set aside a full business day to work on it, or whether it's something you keep on your desk and when you're not working on client work, you can chisel away at that business development, do something so that you know what those things are, because it's not going to look the same for every business owner. If you don't want to grow your newsletter or you don't want to be present on Twitter, then don't worry about doing those things, but figure out what it means to you. And that way you'll feel like you're being productive and you can actually see the action steps to keep your business moving forward.
Right.
I love that.
I would agree. And I would say in addition to that, so once you have the list, the next step would be to set aside time. And whether that's 2 hours a week on a Monday morning or it's a whole day, setting aside the time and being diligent. I think that's the hardest thing is like, cool, Monday mornings, but then you end up in your email anyway, or you end up on Instagram anyway. But I think really what it boils down to is just getting into that practice, that practice of every Monday is your business duty day or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That's like so much easier said than done. But for us, when we were able to seriously sit down and say, we are not touching a client thing on Friday, that's when we saw so much growth in our business, so much progress. We were able to get those big dreams done when we were actually able to work on them. So I'd say in addition to the list, just set aside time, whether it's 2 hours a week or a whole day.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's awesome. So I had one question someone asked me over Insta story. So I wanted to make sure that we answered it because I was like, girl, that's a great question. I told her. And then I see that we also have a couple in here. And so you guys, if you have any other questions, we want to use this our last like 20-ish minutes to make sure we answer any questions. But let me ask this one. It was from Bigsby and Pine. I don't think they're on. I haven't seen their name pop up. And we touched on it before, but I just like the way that they worded it. So I thought it would be helpful if we could make sure we specifically addressed it. So she said, sometimes we worry that clients will see us doing a fun, big dream project, and they think we aren't tending to them. How can we show off both sides of things in a way that's respectful to our clients? And I really liked how she worded that with like, how do you show off the fact that, I think for me, it boiled down to like, how can I talk about Creative at Heart Conference when I'm also working with my brides without my brides feeling like, oh, Kat's not doing enough for my wedding. She's over there spending too much time planning the conference. And I know that you guys have similar situations in your business. So how do you feel like you guys show off the new work that you're doing while still being respectful to your current clients?
That's such a good question and such a real issue. So early on in our business, we tried to be very discreet about things that we were working on. And then eventually it would come to the surface that we were working on something. And a client once emailed us and said, I wish that you would have told me that you were working on XYZ because I want to launch that day, but it looks like you've been working on something else. And at the time, we were so busy and disorganized and new in business that we were working on the side projects at night. So we were working 7 until 7. And then from 7 to 10, we were working on extra things. It was just a really challenging season of learning how to be a business owner. And what we learned from that experience was that transparency is so effective. And if we communicate on our website, in our email signature, and during our client onboarding what our business hours are, and if they're receiving regular communication from us each and every business day, then working on those extra projects and sharing about them on social media is never a surprise and it's never a burden to our clients. And so really, it's funny because we think, be professional, don't show anyone what you're doing, and just put out what you want to put out. But the more transparent and honest that we've been, the better the response has been, and the more congratulatory and receptive people are when those things come up. So that would be, it's counterintuitive and it's kind of uncomfortable to just be honest and say, this is how things work. And, you know, to provide the best experience to keep our business running and moving forward, this is what has to be done.
Right. And I'd say people are, like Kelly said, the more transparent, the more they're on board with it too. And they're excited for you. So clients that, you know, really are truly our ideal clients, they're the ones that are like rooting for us and are like,
absolutely.
Oh, you already touched base with me yesterday. I don't expect to get my revisions today. So if you're working on something else, like, I get it, you know? And then we're able to share like Insta stories of us working on other clients because they understand they have such a great experience working with us because we're so focused on them Monday through Thursday. They don't even think, oh, I'm not their only client. They're working on other things. Oh, you know, how horrible or whatever. Because they've already had such a great experience working with us that it just seems so streamlined in that way, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. And I feel like the first example I thought of when I read that question was even just getting ready to go on maternity leave. And I know you all, like Andra, you had Ellis last year, you all took a sabbatical, you know, then for that. So for maternity leave and just time off with that transition. And I was so nervous to email my brides, whether it was because their wedding was closer to my due date, right? And I was having to like explain what my process was going to be in case, you know, I'm not available on wedding day, but then also for my clients that are in the fall and letting them know like, hey, I'm taking 9 weeks off right before your wedding. I was very nervous, but I found that like the more information, the better. And I did not have one client who was like, I can't believe that you got pregnant and you're not now able to go on the venue visit when we need it. Like everyone was just so excited and more than happy to, you know, schedule venue visits beforehand, after that, like work around that 9 weeks time period and things like that. So while it can make you feel very uncomfortable, like guys, I was literally like sweating, like rereading this email before I sent it out to the clients, like so nervous. Like Matt was like, what is your problem? I was so afraid to email them and tell them that I like wouldn't be available or as, you know, available during that time frame. But honesty really is the best policy, and being transparent and sharing what my plan is and why that's happening. That's obviously very different than just day to day. You don't need to do that with every big project you're working on. But I thought of that example, like when I read that question.
Yeah. Right. And I think like the better their experience is working with you because you're more focused on them, then like they're going to root for you. They're not worried about their client experience if you're giving them an awesome one.
Right.
So
I love it. Okay, so let's go through a couple of these questions here that have popped in. What advice would you give a newer business owner struggling to get those new clients? I know that's not obviously exactly what we were talking about, but it got voted up. So I would love to hear what you guys think. Quick tip for that.
Coincidentally, I think it actually is the foundational things that we talked about, like the business development that sometimes gets neglected. That was the most impactful for us early on in business. So what we did was regular and consistent blog posts to show our expertise, regular social media posts, recycling old content, and kind of being relentless and consistent with posting online, because at the time that was really all that we had. And now Pinterest is actually our biggest source of referrals, and it's because we've grown that and poured into it on a weekly, multiple pins a day. And so even though it seems like a lot of work up front, those have been the things that time has really lifted up and served us well in. So I would say that focusing on the business development and just kind of making your mark and building the foundation.
Right.
I love it. And you guys had a blog post. It's been a while ago now, but it was on recycling old blog content because I loved it. Like I remembered you guys posting about it and I was like, I need to read this because I feel like I have content from 4 years ago when I first started that is still relatable, you know, in certain aspects that I need to be able to recycle and I want to still utilize now. So that was really helpful too.
Yeah, it's evergreen in that way. And you never know when someone's going to come across your business. So I think as business owners, we're so in our business that we're like, well, that blog post was already written 4 years ago. And it's like, well, it's not the same 10 people that were following you 4 years ago, you know? So, you know, they haven't seen that blog post necessarily unless they really creeped back into the archive. So I think it's worth, like Kelly said, pursuing that. And then, just being really, really diligent. I think for us in the beginning, it was just the diligence of like consistently showing up and making sure that we are creating that time to carve out to take care of that. And then also, again, we were pretty good, say about a year into our business is when we started to like really become good about creating those systems behind everything. And when we were able to do that, then we were able to serve our clients even better, and referrals started to come in because now we're actually serving our clients the best we can, opposed to in the beginning when we were kind of just frantically writing to-do lists on sticky notes, like you said, and we really didn't have the best client experience in the beginning because we didn't have that foundational thing in place, like Kelly just mentioned. So kind of the consequence of that was better referrals, better clients, better client experience. So
I love that. I love it. The next two questions are from Emily. Emily, I love all your questions, girl. And we did talk, I don't want to say we kind of talked about this. We did talk about this with having a designated like business development day, 1 day a week. But her question is percentage wise, how much time do you spend on your business versus in your business? And I don't know if you guys have like
yeah.
Well, I don't even know for myself, like how I would answer that.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what the percentage is, but now, like after 3 years or so of doing it with Fridays being our business development day, just this year we take off on Fridays now. And so it's the first half of the day on Monday or the first half of the day on Thursday. So it's only half of a day out of the 4 days that
for each of us. Yeah.
Yeah. For each
I feel like I do most of my like we kind of split our to-dos, and most of mine are on Thursday, most of Kelly's are on Monday, just because of the nature of what we handle.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's still like now if we're working 4 days a week and it's a half a day on Thursday, it's still about 15 to 20%. I'm trying to do math. We're clearly
I'm like, I don't know how to I'm like picturing like a pie graph, like in my head. I'm like, wait, what would it be? I don't know. I think it boils down to, and just like for Emily, for any of you guys, what Kelly was talking about before, I think the biggest takeaway, at least a big takeaway for me with this too, is writing down what are your business development things. Like what are the things you're doing that are on your business versus in your business, and literally having a list. And then you'll be able to know for yourself, like, okay, now that I'm looking at this list, this is probably going to take me X amount of time, because maybe some of you guys you're struggling, like Instagram is a struggle for you. So it takes you a little bit longer, right? It's not quite as systemized. That's okay. But then again, like for them, they went from a day to now a half a day after this time of developing these systems to be able to do that better. For me, writing comes really naturally, and I'm usually pretty quick with it. So I can write several newsletters in a short amount of time and know like that's not going to take me as much time, but I'm going to be spending other time on other things for the business development portion, whereas like the newsletter writing or the blog writing, not necessarily quite as much. Just because of the strengths that I personally have. So you guys are going to have those two in your business, and that's going to change your percentage of the on versus the in.
Yeah. Right. And I think like you just got done saying, we had 20%, we'll say, because it was 1/5 of our work week. That's right. Yeah, 20% before. But then just through like that habitual every Friday, like getting up and working on our business, in the beginning, it did take all day Friday. And then slowly it was like, hey, Kelly, like I'm done with my to-dos. Are you done with yours? And now it's 1 p.m. And we're realizing like, wow, the more habitual we are making it, the quicker it actually came. So now, all of a sudden these newsletters, there's these social media posts. For me, it's bookkeeping. When I kept up with it every week, it didn't take the 4 hours that it would take normally. It took like 30 minutes, So when we were more habitual about it, that's when we realized maybe we can afford to take off Fridays. And maybe we can kind of scoot this into our work week, and maybe we can do a half day on Thursday. So, but it did take habitual kind of going at it to get to that point. So now it's less time, I'd say, than it was before.
And don't feel any guilt either about like what the amount is, because we've all had like teachers who teach to the clock and just like make things longer. We've all, worked in jobs where you have to stay until a certain time and you're just sitting there waiting to clock out because you're done with everything. And so don't feel like you need to do that for your business. I think there's there's so much guilt in small business. And I don't know why that is, but don't let it happen to you. You can work as often as you'd like to, but like Kat reiterated, having that list is going to be the most impactful uniquely for you.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And then another question Emily had was, when do you focus on bringing in sales during that duty day? So do you guys have like a specific time that you're designating to make sure for marketing for potential clients, or what does that look like for your business?
I don't know.
Wait, what is that? I guess I'm confused by the question in terms of bringing in sales. Does she mean like responding to inquiries or
just marketing to new clients?
just marketing in general?
Yeah,
I guess
if you'll let us know, that would be.
Sorry.
I read it as like marketing, just
in general.
yeah, marketing to
So
get new client, like to bring in inquiries, not responding to inquiries. But let me know if I'm not reading that correctly.
Yeah.
Marketing to new clients, new leads. Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
There's nothing that we do actively, I would say, because we're such firm believers that all the foundational things like social media marketing, covering all your bases through blogging and social media marketing as an online business, that is where we get our clients from. It's either referrals from other people, Instagram or Pinterest are our top referral sources. And so it isn't necessarily this idea that we're actively seeking things or targeting a person, but rather we have like our Pinterest templates that we use for our blog posts, and we have Pinterest templates for how we showcase our brand boards, and then we schedule a lot of those. So we're basically just trying to plaster our Pinterest with lots of things and make sure that all of our social media platforms are scheduled up and filled up, because we think that the regularity of having the social media posts out there serves our business best. And at least in our experience, when we're proactive about marketing, it's better than being reactive and saying, oh, you know, this number's down, let's try to boost up our posts. But rather, we always post. And so it's always like saving for a rainy day. We're just always talking to our ideal client and always making sure that all of our kind of buffers are filled up.
Right. And I'd say just in terms of like getting super practical, breaking it down, I'd say, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you spend Kelly does all of our like Instagram scheduling and Pinteresting, probably a few hours every week to do that. And then together we have like a few hours every week just to focus on, like we had mentioned, those new things. So the shop, you know, we knew we needed to chisel away, but we kind of set that time and then stop when it's done. So like, for example, Kelly might say, okay, I'm going to spend 4 hours working on the template shop today. And then I know that it's not launching for 2 more months. So I'm going to spend 4 hours and then I'll touch again. You know, I'll spend another 4 hours next week and another, 4 hours the next week or whatever it is. So I'd say a few hours each week is spent doing that marketing kind of thing. And then the rest of it is, rest of our like bookkeep or our business duty day is spent pursuing like new projects.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you said about being proactive versus reactive. I think that's something that we get really stressed out in our business really quickly.
Yes.
We tend to look at a number being lower. It's always comes down to a number, whether it's like that Instagram number, or the sales number, or the email list, whatever it might be. And we want to get reactive of how can I boost that? How can I get that up? Rather than just saying like, well, this is going to take time. Like nothing in business is a quick fix, right? No Instagram post, no Pinterest post, no blog, nothing that you do is going to just like put a Band-Aid on it and like make it better. It takes time. It's like a true marathon and not a sprint. So I feel like that's just really great advice in terms of just overall knowing that, hey, this might be your long-term goal of like list growth or, whatever that looks like for you, launching a new product, and you're going to like chip away at it versus feeling like I'm going to do this one thing and it's going to be so big and monumental in my business that then I'm not going to need to ever do any other work on it again. And that's just not true. I wish that was true.
That's kind of a mindset to be in. Yeah. But I think it's like, no matter what, like you said, the numbers, they can't make you and they can't break you. So like, for example, you're not going to have an Instagram post that all of a sudden, most likely, I mean, it would be an awesome miracle if you just had one Instagram post that all of a sudden brought in like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to your business and all of a sudden it. But also in the same way, you're not going to have one Instagram post that all of a sudden it's like, my business is I'm never going to book a client ever again. Like Kelly and I will have that where Instagram images will get hundreds of likes and then we'll have one that gets like 80 and we're like, okay, but we're not having that reactive. We could be reactive and be like, our business is failing. Or we could be like, Instagram is Instagram. And like, this is like, this is how life goes. I think it truly is that marathon of like just showing up every day and knowing you'll win some, you'll lose some, and you just got to keep going. You just got to keep plugging away.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, people are still the variable. So I think our strategy is to control what we can control. And for that, there are strategies for that. Posting X number of times on Instagram each day, X number of times on Pinterest. We just do what we can and then hope that the people fall into place. Because Kat, like you mentioned, sometimes you think you're going to launch this thing and it does not go as planned because people are the variable. And so it's just a matter of diversifying your offerings, making sure that you're present on all the platforms, and then doing your best. And like Andra said, just being forming the habits and making sure that you're consistent in all those things, because that's all we can do, really.
Right. Absolutely. And the days when you're feeling like really irrational, don't make big decisions. On the days when you feel really irrational, I'm like telling this to myself too, guys. Like when you feel like your business is failing, don't make any decisions, because an hour later or the next day, it's not going to be like, it's going to be okay. And just hang tight on that.
Right. And same thing when all of a sudden you have this like huge booking and your business is like, woohoo! Maybe also not making like super great decisions on that day. Like make them when you're in the normal.
Like the normal. Yeah. No like highs and lows with hormones or emotions or anything.